Instead of firing so-called bad teachers, a year-long investigation by our Community Watchdog revealed area school districts are giving some of them a different kind of out.
Yeah, an out that not only helps keep the actions of those problem teachers a bit of a secret, but could also help those bad apples find work in a school possibly near you. Nate Morabito found out districts are striking deals behind closed doors.
And the public largely doesn't know about them. They're called separation agreements, and they prevent districts from talking about why certain teachers resigned and keep details about their bad conduct out of their personnel files. If you want to find out about the allegations, you need to know what to request. The agreements have benefits for school systems, too. After suspending the teachers, they help get rid of these bad teachers quickly without costing them thousands of dollars on attorney's fees as part of the firing process. One school district signed 3 of them last year alone. An elementary school teacher left a parent in charge of her class after she walked out during the school day and refused to return to work. Across town, a high school PE teacher violated the district's social media policy. And at the county's other high school, a teacher took an explicit picture of himself while on school property during the school day. But asked to see their employee files, and you won't find a single mention of any of those allegations. What's interesting is that in both of these personnel files, we know that the teachers in question resigned, but we don't know why. There's no explanation. There's something missing. Instead of firing those teachers, the Hawkins County School District let all 3 sign separation agreements and leave quietly. Among the agreed upon terms, if a future employer wants to know about the teacher's employment here, the district will only respond with basic information and acknowledge the teachers resigned. Not a word more. The truth is, you all can't really tell much, can you?
No, other than what we agreed to in the agreement.
And that's not all. In 2 of the 3 cases, the separation agreements aren't even in the employee's file. Instead, they're stored in a separate file in the director of schools office. What would you say to some people who might think, well, you are doing these bad teachers a favor?
I don't think we are. You know, I think it gives us a chance. As I said, my first priority is to the citizens, students, staff of Hawkins County. It's not to police the hiring practices of other systems. And
Steve Starn says there are several reasons why Hawkins County occasionally uses these agreements. They allow the district and the teachers in question to avoid negative publicity. They also help the school system cut ties with troubled teachers quickly and inexpensively.
It saves a lot of resources, both time, energy, and economic resources preparing for litigation for the termination proceedings.
Public records reveal Hawkins County signed 3 separation agreements in 2014. Bristol, Tennessee Schools has issued at least 2, most recently in 2012. And Kingsport signed 1 in 2011. Administrators in other districts say they don't use separation agreements.
It's incumbent upon school districts to ensure that they're putting not only the best instructors, but the safest instructors in these classrooms.
In Washington County, Director of Schools Ron Dyke says his district never gives teachers the option to resign instead of facing termination.
It's the ethical and the right thing to do.
He says for every case where wrongdoing is alleged, his district always files a report with the Tennessee Board of Education, a report that outlines the actual allegations.
There's going to be a record of those actions by the state board.
So does Hawkins County. But there, in some cases, the district has agreed to not seek action against teaching licenses, leaving that decision up to the State Board of Education. In the case of the teacher who took that explicit photo, the state suspended his license for a year. And just last week, the board issued a formal reprimand to that teacher who walked out on her class. In the social media case, the license is currently flagged. Starn says that should serve as a warning to every other district looking to hire.
If you do that first step and go to the state licensure, all this is going to be there.
It's true, the flag is there now. But eventually, if the state opts against pursuing further action, that flag will disappear. Regardless, Starnes argues these teachers' resumes should serve as red flags too. All 3 resigned mid-year. If any of them look for new work, there will also be a gap in their work history. And none of them would likely list their former employer as a reference.
There's going to still be questions that would have to be answered there.
Speaking of questions, is that something that the public should be concerned about?
I don't think so.
Starn says parents should not be concerned about the county's occasional use of separation agreements. Despite the wording of those contracts, he says the school system's only motivation is to help the district, and not those bad teachers.
I think it's in our best interest if we can separate from somebody that we've deemed to be inappropriate for association. I think that's a win-win.
Remember, 6 teachers have signed separation agreements in 3 districts around here since 2011. From what we can tell, not a single one of them has since found a new job as a teacher in our region. Starnes maintains it's not as easy as it may sound for them to find new work. He says Hawkins County will continue to use these agreements on a case-by-case basis.
Nate, thank you. So what can you do to protect your child? If you have a teacher you're concerned about, you can search the teacher's license status online. We have a link to the State Board of Education's searchable database on WJHL.com. If the license says SBE review, that means someone's filed a report alleging a teacher is engaged in conduct that could result in state board action. That report could come from out of state, in-state school district, or even from a citizen. It's public record. You can request it. While the report's pending, a teacher can still teach.